Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Survivor 49 for Survivor Global. I'm your host, Shannon Guss, here to talk about the finale. We got through Survivor 49. I'm sorry for making that sound how I didn't mean it to be not we all got through it. We did get through it, though. We did watch all Survivor 49, and now we are at the foothills of 50. But we're going to talk about the finale, and there was a lot of interesting stuff here, and I'm so excited because I have a great guest from Brain Feed Brawn 2 who have absolutely been doing my global guest list this season. Wonderful Karin. Karin, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. It was like a journey. It was like a new era journey this entire season. I felt like I went through multiple feelings. And I tuned out after the sea crate part, but I'm back. We're here.
Yeah, I begged you to come back so you could be a guest, and we finally made it work for the finale. You were overseas until today, so this is a lot of effort that you've put in, and we really appreciate it. I appreciate it. The listeners appreciate it. You said you had a lot of feelings. What are those feelings right now? How are you feeling about everything now?
So, I started off being an absolute hater of this season. I started wanting to hate it, hated it, and then actively despised it, and then I just stopped watching, and then Sage Shannon drama sort of appeared, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm back. I love a bit of sass, I love a bit of pettiness, let's bring it back. Then the sea crate stuff also was in the and then I started getting into it, and the end game was bizarre but interesting. I can't say wholeheartedly that I was like, yeah, this is it for me. I love this season. But I mean, I was watching it. I was actually paying attention. So, and there were moments where I was like, oh, I teared up at one point when Rizzo read his letters. So maybe it was sleep deprivation. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that that's a good summation of things. It had interesting moments, particularly through the end game. We had a lot of interesting moments in this finale. I really felt, we'll talk about it, Christina's question to Savannah and Savannah's answer to me was by far the most interesting part of the finale. And there were good things in the finale, but I mean, it was kind of like 3 challenges in fire. But the final tribal council was great. I thought the decisions at 5 and to a lesser extent 4 were interesting. And yeah, that question, I was like, now I'm here for it. Now we can have like a debate about humanity, and we will later in this podcast. So I'm excited to talk about that, but there's a lot of good stuff here. And we're going to talk about 50, the preview. We can finally say, I've known. Many people have known that Rizzo and Savannah would be on 50, and it is impossible for me to separate the season from that. And it's almost a disservice to the season. I almost feel like maybe it'll be better on a rewatch, but it was frustrating me that every week, and some of this was in the edit, but Savannah doesn't have an OTT edit. I mean, she does for a woman, honestly, but not an OTT winner edit at all. But it was more just Uli were the more interesting tribe. They had the plot armor, they had so much narrative. And we knew that Rizzo and Savannah were coming back for 50 as well. So adding all of those things together, it wasn't are they going to be able to do this? Are they going to be able to come back, which is by far the most interesting element of the season? It was, how are they going to do this? And that's just one extra layer that the season, which is kind of average at best anyway, I don't think could afford.
Because I think it's the same way when you get an entire boot order spoiled and you're sort of expecting them to rally. It's It's I started off the season knowing that Savannah and Rizzo were going to return. And then when Keller was the disaster tribe, I was like, cool, ignore, don't care anymore. Hina, what are you doing at this point? And then I'm just desperately watching for them to do something, which is why I completely zoned out at the start, because it was just Keller going to tribal after tribal, because I was like, well, okay, let's just get to the point where Uli start doing things, which is I don't know. Well, yeah, and it's kind of a disservice to Rizzo and Savannah, who are arguably in the new era mechanics, and especially in this season, very good players. And all of the efforts were kind of marred by this big thing that was sort of hanging over the season. And albeit I was kind of snarky about it, being oh, okay, Survivor 49 players coming back for 50, how dare they? And I think that sort of maybe made me be more of a hater, which is so unfair.
Look, we're happy to be haters here on this podcast. If you don't like the haters, you've probably tuned out by now, especially the way that I felt about US Survivor this whole year. And I try to be really enthusiastic person. I mean, in terms of like the 50 of it all, well, firstly, actually, before we get to 50, there was to me a divide on entertainment in this cast. Uli, I've said, I think were the 6 best characters of the season. Sophie's in there as the Blue Sophie. And that was a massive divide. Like, and I think, and Rob talked about this halfway through the season, and I just want to like reiterate it now that we've seen how the season pans out. I've been calling Hina Lahina just secretly to myself post-merge because of the Kasaya Lamina divide in Panama. Like Kasaya, all the people you care about, and Hina Lamina, you know,
Hina Lamina.
Yeah, they're like basically like filling out space.
I did not know half the like tribe members' names. Like Soph appeared suddenly, and I went, "Oh, okay, you exist." I didn't know who you were. MC I knew because I was like, you are like gonna be a problem coming to merge, and then everyone else I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah, and they were winning as well.
Yeah.
So that's what's so hard.
Like I felt bad for Keller because it was just awful. Like that was awful. And then Uli, like again, were interesting because they were splitting up. And then again, interesting because of Joanne and Sage. Again, interesting because of Shannon and Sage. And I was like, Uli is all content every day, beautifully cast. But I don't know if it's just like the 3 tribe mechanic that I loathe with a passion that actually does like a disservice to characters. Like Steven is actually like hilarious and interesting. Like give me space facts. Love space facts. Give it to me. I don't care. I'll listen to you. And he like really shone through towards the end. Soph shone through towards the end. MC, I was like, I'm pretty sure MC has things to say. Like just send them to tribal a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. And I have said it many times and I completely agree. And I love was speaking the exact same like hater type language. But you know when this went badly? Day -1. And Rob spoke about this, but when they took out 2 members of Hina because the talkie troublemakers, because they were speaking too much. And I think the chemistry of the tribe, like when you're going to change a third of the tribe on the fly like that, the chemistry of the tribe was wrong. Like even though they may have been entertaining, I'm not putting this on like Jason and MC who were the the alternates, although I do think that they both probably were more conservative gameplays, and I think the whole of Hina then became kind of more conservative, and it got into this group think, and they were doing the chanting, and like that was going up against Uli, who played really hard. Now there were 2 people who were meant to be on Hina. I know we're way months past this, but like they were playing so hard that they got kicked out. You know, like if we were looking for the people who were going to throw challenges, like that was those people. And I think when we look back at the season now, them like Hina were getting kind of railroaded, and that was interesting, and like that's a huge credit to especially Rizzo and Savannah. However, it also felt like a lot of this was on them, and it felt like frustrating that they weren't kind of like pushing themselves a little bit more. But you know who pushed themselves? People who got kicked out of the game because they pushed themselves too much. So should they have been kicked out? I'm sure yes. You know, like that, I think that can be true as well. But it just was unfortunate that the chemistry was messed up from the get-go. And like I don't think we recovered. I don't know.
No, yeah, because all of like USS Ponderosa, and when you start making all of your notes and start like going like you're a problem, I'm gonna watch out for you. I'm judging by the fact that 2 people got kicked out. I'm pretty sure everyone else is going, okay, you're a problem. I need to get rid of you or do something, or looking at them to be the sort of instigators of chaos. Whether that would have detracted or added to, hard to say. These are all hypotheticals at the moment. But yeah, definitely, like tribe chemistry is set pre, day one. Anyway, we are well past that now. We're 26 days.
I still think about it because I'm like, they would have thrown a challenge. But anyway, it's fine. I'll get over it at a point. But what do you think about Savannah and Rizzo being on 50? Like now having seen their whole games, how do you look at that?
So like, again, like I said initially, I was like, how dare they? Like, where is Carolyn Wigger? Where is Carolyn? Why are we getting 3 from 48, 2 from 49, and there is not a whisper, like just outraged. But I like having watched the season progress and basically seeing them from pre-merge to when they were very solidly at the top to post-merge where they were at a 7-3 minority and then miraculously like got to the top. Rizzo, I have no idea how someone survives so long with an idol. Like, I think credit to their games. I think they're very interesting characters. And like the fact that the duo of them work together. Savannah is obviously a lot more mature player and she is older as well. Rizzo, I like honestly just, again, I'm a hater. I wanted to hate him. But he's young.
The same way. You're speaking my language completely.
But he's just young. He's young. He's goofy. He's a character. He just wants to go out there and play. And I think I will give him grace for that. I was like, it's sort of like the Miles effect of it all, where like having gotten to, like, when you're out there with Miles, you're like, God, I want to kill him. And even afterwards, I'm like, I really want to kill him. But you're like, he's a 24-year-old. He's having the best time of his life. Like, good God. Like, I would also kill to be 24 on an island, just like waving my idol around, going like, get me out, try and get me out. And I think I'm going to give Rizzo grace for it. And I kind of want to see what he does now against like a seasoned cast compared to what he had to go up against in 49, which arguably had a lot of people that were very happy just sitting on their hands for a large portion of the game.
Yeah. People who weren't going to get kicked out in the preseason. I think I definitely see the Miles Rizzo comparison. I watched the finale with Miles and I said the same thing to him. It's that same like youthful bravado that you might want to hate, but then you're like, God damn it. And I completely agree with you. I think, I really enjoyed watching both Rizzo and Savannah play. I think they're people I want to see play again at a time. I think having both of them is silly casting. They were in lockstep the entire season. They never had to turn on each other at any point. It's such an uncomplicated relationship, and they played a week ago before they're going to go out on 50 or however long that is.
I think it's like a 2-week gap between them leaving and coming back.
Exactly. So it's just like they were the only pair that was in every tribal iteration together, including all 3 tribe swaps, the merge, and the split tribal. And they were never, ever out of sync. So what are we gaining by having them together? And then I look at someone like Savannah, who I really like. She's a good character. She's a good winner. There are limitations. We'll talk about some social limitations, however. She's a good character. I think she's a little samey to D in archetype, even though they had very different games. And that's one of the only other 2 winners. And then I look at it, I'm like, what's Savannah's story coming back? Because she just won. So there's not like even like Rizzo, like he just fell short. Like she just won. She's had no kind of life to live since then, or even like years, or for some winners, decades of experience to be like, here's where I am now in my life. Like we just saw her achieve the goal. To have her there with Rizzo, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we need 5 people from 48 and 49. I think that's always been insane. I don't think the season warrants it. I think having one to bookend everything, having season Borneo and 49 makes sense. And I think that could have been Rizzo. And I think that wouldn't have taken away from it, because I think when we saw Rizzo call himself Rizgod in the preview of 48, if you'd heard like, he's coming back, you'd be like, that actually doesn't spoil much at all. Like he could probably come wherever he's calling himself Rizgod. Like he was everyone's major takeaway from the preview. Whereas Savannah was like, we don't really know much about her. How's that going to go? And obviously for the people in the know, and this is not what CBS did, but I mean, CBS tried not to spoil them at all, but like it was impossible to avoid that there were 3 tribes. Savannah was on the one tribe that didn't have a winner, and you wondered, and I tried not to, and I was like, maybe not. But I just feel like it made 49, which was already kind of a pretty, like, again, at best, average season. At best, I think I'm being gracious. It made it such a footnote of 50, and it didn't have to be. It took away from this amazing comeback, which was the best part of the season. If you look at like Brains v Brawn 2 that you guys had and AUV World, that was filmed back to back. And I covered your season as its own thing, and I'm so grateful I had to do that. And it actually wasn't in the shadow of the biggest thing that's ever happened in Australian Survivor. Like, what a gift. And 49 was not afforded that. And I don't think the casting choices of Rizzo and Savannah warrant, well, it was so worth it that we have them to take away as they did,
Because, like, I think I agree on the, like, this is the thing, like, Savannah is already, like, a player that I think has not reached the pinnacle of what her, like, playing capacity is, but I think would warrant and would benefit from maybe getting a year under her belt of just life to just figure out her mechanics and come back, to be honest, become like a dual winner and really iron out her social game. Whereas Rizzo, I think Rizzo's very capable and ready to just hit the ground running again and again, because that's what he did throughout the season. And I think giving him a second shot will really just add to the viewing experience. To be honest, I think when the 50 announcement was given during like the 48 finale, was it when it came out? I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're taking away from 48 now. And then to add it on to like 49 again and again. Like it was such a massive disservice. Like for example, when we knew that Australia versus the world was going to come right after us, we're like, oh, good God.
Yeah.
But I
don't think that impacted it that much. Like, as someone who was covering it, I really felt like I got to spend the time with Brains v Brawn too. And I'm so grateful for that. And look, Australian Survivor's edit can often be like spoilery in and of itself. And I know Miles wanted to go back out after 47 days and play AUV World, but like,
insane. Absolutely
it stood on its own 2 feet. You know, if you had heard like Miles goes back because he wins, yeah, it would have all been within the shadow of AUV World. And I don't think that would have been fair to your season. And then like, I mean, I don't know if it's like, if 49 was really good, but then minimized by that, maybe that would be worse. But it's like, unfortunately, 49, like already, like the pre-merge was so snoozy. It was super truncated. Like, yes, the best thing you can say is it had this comeback, and that was already so minimized for me personally. This is my viewing experience. And I assume a lot of people listening to this podcast, although I really try to keep the 50 returnees out of the podcast. But yeah, it's also like the season couldn't afford it. So like, even like Jeff was like, he said like, this is one of the most unpredictable games ever. And I was like, no, even without the other stuff, that is not true. So
it was unpredictable because some of the moves defied logic. Like, sure.
Somehow it was still predictable, kind of.
Yeah, it was predictable because it was like, I know, like you knew that one part of this merge group tribe wasn't going to do anything and 3 people were, and you're like, okay, cool. Some of the mechanics are just going to line up so that it suits the needs and like benefits of these 3 people. And every time that happened, you're going, okay, I'm perplexed, but yeah, I think. Like, yeah, definitely one. And again, you're getting like 48. You've got Camilla and Kyle coming back again.
And
like
Joe.
And Joe.
Yeah,
like,
and Joe was supposed to Kyle.
Yeah, like it's 3 people that have played very close. Like Kyle and Camilla were, like, again, lockstep. Like they had sort of like alternate paths in different areas. But again, 2 players that were playing together for a large majority. So I don't know what would add.
And then like 2 of the 3 winners are the 2 most recent winners. Like it worked with JT on Heroes versus Villains because he was like, I guess, so high from the win and like felt maybe like he was playing with house money that he was just taking shots. I'd rather have some. Yeah, and Russell thought he'd won. So, but Russell's always going to be who he is. Like I just think like if you're going to have winners, like you could have winners from decades ago. Like, and I'm going to show my bias here because obviously I'd love for Marianne to have been on 50. But like, Marianne only won a few years ago. But in that time, she's, she was 23. She's years older now. She's mature.
She's like Rizzo.
She got married. Exactly. Like she's studying medicine now. Like her life looks different. Savannah's life is a week ago. I want to see it. I just don't think it's on 50. And I don't think the season could take it. Honestly.
It's the same for when sort of like, the redemption like cast for like Australian Survivor came out and you're going, okay, interesting. Right. Like, Brooke, we haven't seen Brooke since All Stars, a completely different player now and a completely different person. She went, she's a mother, she's married, she's gone through so many iterations of herself coming back to redemption. Now you're like, okay, I need to, because Brooke was in all the era of like, what's, the Friendship Games era, or like the end of coming to the end of the Friendship Games era. So that's interesting. But I'm hopeful. I think now that we know they're going to be playing, I'm going to be critical of them. I think I expect more out of Rizzo, if I'm being honest. Like I've heard him say that he's like built his game around the likes of Ferris and Tony, which is very interesting. I was like, okay, fun. Yeah. So I'm curious because, like, again, like Ferris is someone I want to see play up, and like Ferris has had a bit more time to mature, and arguably is like obviously a lot more mature player than Rizzo. So I kind of want to see, okay, so what will you have learned from 2 weeks? What can you do?
Yeah, Ferris and Tony, 2 Australian Survivor greats. But let's talk about this finale a little bit because I feel like, I mean, Rizzo, there were some decisions made that are going to, end in Rizzo losing the game. And I think that's really interesting as someone who's been like tracking and really enjoying Rizzo's journey. But this final 5 was so interesting to me, where it was between Christina and Sage, as we thought it might be. I didn't think Christina would be in it. I thought Sage would straight up go home. So that was unpredictable. And this is so interesting to me because it feels like if you're Sophie and Rizzo, you need Savannah out. Apparently, we're finding out Christina is the best fire maker by far. Surely,
where did that come from?
I know they should always have a tally of the levels of fire making. I really
because they put the montage in there. It was just like, oh, bam, Christina's a fire maker. Here's a montage, and I was like, okay, where did this come from? And it was the only thing they said. I'm terrified of going against Christina at fire. I'm like, okay, sure. Then put someone you don't want there against her. Like, I don't get the premise of voting her out. I thought Sage was a goner. I was like, all right, bye, Sage.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if you're Savannah, keeping Christina, something she credited in Final Tribal Council, is a great move. Losing Christina, is a great move for you. Because that's like the thing she feels most vulnerable on. She actually probably thinks she can win the challenge. And then at that point, she'd be fine anyway. But if she can't, then she's like really vulnerable to fire. And it's interesting because for Sophie Rizzo, you think, great, let's take out Savannah there. Like, if she can lose the challenge, like, this is our spot. We need to be able to get her out. She's going to have a double chance. How can we get her out? Sage is better at challenges. However, like, she's not good enough at challenges to be like, but she's the one who's going to beat Savannah at the challenge. And then she'd still have fire. So you have to, like, be thinking, what's, like, the biggest outlier to really crush Savannah at one of these rounds? Like, we're going to have to, back ourselves at the challenge and Sophie wins it and put Christina in. They don't go with that, even though they are the two swing votes here.
And the thing is, like, Rizzo has the idol, and his whole thing was like, oh, I want to play my idol offensively. I thought the offensive play would have been, all right, Savannah. On
Christina.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, just forget. But I don't know. It's the like, I think Savannah did. So when they're on the beach and Savannah comes back and she goes, no, we're voting for Christina. Rizzo goes, oh, but it would be so much easier in a final 3 against Christina. And Savannah just goes, oh, when have you wanted to take the easy way out? And it was just, I thought that was like brilliant from her. It was, like, it was just
attention before 50. Finally, something.
Finally, but she said it so directly, just very matter of fact. She was like, "This is it. Why would you want to do that?" And then Rizzo kind of went, "Okay, yep." Which I was kind of surprised as well. I kind of wanted him to be like, "Okay, like, sure, whatever, we'll do what you want, but I'm gonna play this idol, which I've been dangling for 9 tribals, and do a big offensive maneuver," which is what I thought was going to happen, instead of just okay, here you go.
Well, that's so interesting to me because Rizzo said in X interviews, the reason that he wanted to take out Christina was he felt like, firstly, if Savannah wins the challenge and she puts him into fire against Christina, he doesn't want to lose. To me, that's pointless. Like, if Savannah wins the challenge, the game is done. So Rizzo has been playing for first, not fourth or whatever the whole game. To me, thinking Christina would beat you in fire is irrelevant. And that's more conservative than Rizzo's ever been. So that's irrelevant. But then he said, I want to beat Savannah in fire. And so then the question becomes, firstly, how did it get to the point where you feel you need that, or you don't need it and you're wrong? Both of those I'm critical of. And I do like this thing better that we're saying. What if he goes against the grain, protects Christina from, that many votes, which would be unfortunate for Sophie because she's willing to vote with him. So like, it feels like you'd have to tell her the wrong vote, like, actively, and then like actively, protect Christina. But if you can protect Christina and then put Christina into fire, or someone puts Christina into fire and beats Savannah, could it be like, we use Christina as a weapon? I got her there with my idol, because the thing is, he couldn't rely on fire. He wasn't that good at it. And he didn't even say like, I'm so prepared. And then he like messed it up. Like, he never seemed like he was that prepared for it. So I wouldn't really want to bet it all on fire. I think I'd rather bet it all on taking out Savannah, going to a final tribal council to pitch a case, which I actually think Rizzo would be really good at. I bet on that more than fire. And if he could use his idol to protect Christina or someone get her through, it would be more fireworks with the idol, it would be better for the jury. And maybe that's the pitch, is that like, I didn't go into fire against her, but I got Christina through to beat her in fire. I'm a good delegator. And that's how we got here. I think that has to be a better way.
And it like sort of fits this whole theme that he's been like, hey, I'm only going to play this idol when I need to. I'm not a defensive player. I'm like all offense. I've protected my weapon when I needed to take out my biggest threat, who has been my ally, which is a very compelling jury pitch. And like, you're right. I think of the pitches that you would get, I would rank Rizzo at the top 2, like with Savannah. And then I don't like, the sageness of it all also sort of doesn't make sense. When did Sage and Savannah have this big bond? Like, where did that come from? I don't know.
Yeah, like, they made up So I do respect, we're going to talk a lot about Savannah's social game. I respect that she got Sage back on side. I will say it's very hard for me to try and calculate what to do at this 5 and 4 for like the Sophies and Rizzos of the world, because I watched Christina, Sophie, and Rizzo sit across from Mike Bloom on Zoom in the exit interviews and tell me that they would have won if Savannah wasn't there. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. So it's a tough one, because it's like, does Rizzo really need, if Savannah's gone, Christina's taken out Savannah in Fire, does he really need to have made Fire? I don't know. But like, I still think I'd rather have bet it not on Fire, because he did so poorly at it. And again, that's like, he bet it all and he failed at that. And I would rather like make it about the idol and Final Tribal Council. But like, I don't know. Like when Sophie wins, I was like, put yourself into Fire. And then you like, because I thought she might need that to beat Rizzo, but she thinks that even if Rizzo wins Fire, she's going to win. It's very hard for me to judge, because they all said it. So
no, I think that was like a theme of all the exit interviews.
It was so funny.
I have 100%, and I kind of
should montage it.
Yeah, I get it. Like, back your game 100%. We don't know the dynamics that weren't shown on camera, but even the final jury pitches, like I was like, okay, you're not highlighting some of the things I saw, but you clearly thought this was the game that would win. So we're missing a few things.
It's tough.
And even if we're talking a tribal, like previously, like Sage going, oh, Steven, like you're the only one that could beat me. And I went, oh, wait, what? Like, are we missing Sophie, Savannah, and Rizzo? Like, Steven's the biggest threat to your, I don't know. This is what I meant by like, it's bizarre. Like, am I missing a huge chunk of edit, or is it, I don't know, I don't want to say delusions of grandeur, but like,
it's got to be from someone. Okay, not everyone can be right when everyone was going to win in that final 3. That is basically the 3 of Christina, Rizzo, and Sophie. I do think, look, Savannah was such an out-and-out threat that taking her out in Fire might have carried weight. I respected that Christina was like, even if she got the chance to put herself into Fire, she would have done it. So I think that is good. I don't think it would have been enough from my perspective on my couch. And then for Sophie versus Rizzo, like, it really comes down to that perception we've spoken about the whole season about Rizzo, which is, again, hard to say. I do think he'd speak about his game well. For someone like Sophie, I mean, in terms of like Fire, I don't know if she needs to take the risk of putting herself into Fire from a jury perspective. I don't really think I know from a Fire perspective either. That I'm also like, because you need to get Savannah out. So if she's better at Fire than Rizzo, I think that she should do it. But again, these are all kind of vague metrics that I'm being given. So it's quite a tough one.
So Sophie, I don't think on any circumstance Sophie should put herself into Fire. She's played critical, like, strategic game, in ways
from day one until yesterday when she stole the block of vote. It's been really good.
Like, she's like played it. She's got social things she can speak for. There's strategic points. There's missteps, sure, but she is by no means like someone that doesn't have like a winner's equity to put yourself into.
Well, I guess not. I thought maybe not, but like I don't know anymore.
I think she has like
she did well at Final Tribal Council as well.
Yeah, like I think from like a winner's equity, I thought it was like Savannah was the clear, like, perceived threat of the season. She was the big, blazing beacon that everyone was trying to shoot at. Whereas Sophie was someone that maneuvered herself very well in quite a difficult end game for her, given a lack of an immunity idol and like an immunity necklace as well. So I think there were things that she could definitely speak for, and I think there was a jury that was going to be quite perceptive to her compared to a Rizzo or a Savannah. Like, Christina outright does not like Savannah. Like Nate, I think is more Rizzo and Savannah leaning. Like Steven, don't know. Joanne, definitely not. There are a lot more people that will vote for Sophie, and I think, than Rizzo and Savannah from like a purely like emotional perspective.
Well, they did it though, to be fair.
But like when they were like, for example, this was what I found surprising. I thought, like, honestly, that Rizzo's like showboating would actually turn off a lot of people. But when it came to Savannah versus Rizzo, like MC was trying to like you can't help but pick a side when you get these, and it looks like Joanne was on Rizzo's side, MC was on Rizzo's side. Steven, they were all on Rizzo's side. So I went, okay, cool. I got my jury perception wrong there. So.
Well, we don't know. No, compared to Savannah, everyone agrees Savannah would win. But after that, everyone, the jurors are just too nice. They're like, you would have won. Like, and you would have won. And you
this is the other baffling thing though. But like Sage has had such a difficult like post-game from what I am gathering from some of the exit interviews, but everyone's like, no, it's a game, we don't mind. And I'm like, you mind, you definitely mind.
10 minutes ago. She said it was a brutal final tribal council. This was worse for Sage than we could have imagined. And I think last week a lot of people were like, I mean, Steven was kind of leading like, could Sage beat Savannah? I'm like, I worry it's going to be worse for Sage than we could possibly imagine. And the names that have been thrown out, I completely agree, I had the same names in mind. Dawn, Carolyn, the emotional woman who's like had to bear that emotional weight of everyone else. I saw the death knell for me, and it was even brought up in this episode, was when I saw how even when she lost the challenge, no one went to last week. I think it was last week. No one went to congratulate Savannah. They all had to kind of like coddle Sage. And I feel like it's like that. It's like that level of like, you're protecting my feelings, but I'm protecting yours. This is very, very deep, and I'm very, very burned. It's very hard as well that they kind of solely blamed her, some with merit, but they all had their part to play, but they solely blamed her for the fact that it had gone from a 7-3 to a 1-3. Like, and she did have questionable decisions. So some of that is earned, I will say.
As someone who gets emotional and petulant, like there are, you have people around you that go, no, shut up, go sit in a corner, you can't do that. And you go, yeah, cool, I'm going to go walk off by myself for a bit. Like they all had voices clearly. So walk Sage off a ledge. Tell her we don't need to get retribution for Joanne now. We can get it later. We don't need to vote a critical
hard,
player.
Though. It is hard because even that week I did say like, this is all on Sage, and she was so one-eyed on Sophie, and then Savannah. That's the last time that Savannah's vulnerable. And she let her go. That's a very tough game to defend. Like I don't think she defended it well. I think she came in, it was very tough. Like I think it seems like she might have actively lost Christina's vote. However, even if it went at its absolute best, like she could not have won with that jury, with the game she had to defend. It was a very, very tricky.
Oh no, like 100%. Like she would have to defend the Soph vote. She would have to defend the Steven vote, all of which, MC? No, that wasn't
MC, her. Yeah, but she didn't, I mean, she was part of that, but like again, we had more control.
Yeah.
The Alex vote, that was really like Sage and
then blatantly being like, oh, I don't flip-flop, I adapted. I'm like, oh, I would disagree. I would say it was more flip-flopping. And this is the whole, like, one could say the Kaylin-ness of it all, where you play this emotional game, you're goofy, that you go around where the wind takes you depending on like what the temperature of the day is, and then you go, no, actually I'm a military operative and I was strategic and I planned to do this, and then you go, ooh, okay, the math isn't mathing here.
I completely agree with you, because I think she's like, look, I hid behind my emotions, and I really like those answers. The answer that she gave when, what were you in the jury? She was like, I was a secret strategist hiding behind my emotions. However, taking out Sophie to me, and it's something she actually credits as like one of her best moves. I have to get the questions in front of me, but like that to me was so emotional. Yeah. So it's like now, but is it a front? Yeah. Like what I actually wanted her to do in that round was to act like blindside well by being like, of course I'm going after Sophie. Like I'm emotional Sage. Like I can't see any other way. Oh, I just blindsided Savannah or Rizzo with his side or whatever it is. That's using your emotions as a weapon rather than being used by them. And I can't say for Sage that she wasn't actually emotional, like, and making decisions on that were in many ways dooming a lot of people on the jury, and they seemed not happy about it.
Yeah. And like, and I think it's like, and it's hard. Like those decisions are super hard to make. And when you're in the heat of it, it's like all you see is red, and I can relate to that. And like, all you want to do is burn everything to the ground. And I like 100% see it as well. But like when it comes down to those moments, especially at a jury wants to see you go, okay, I was emotional. I went on a absolute reign of terror there because I was upset.
I lost my mind.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, is like people are comparing her to like a Sandra. Like Sandra sat next to Russell, she tried to take out the whole time and failed and beat Russell and Parvati. But it didn't fail because of Sandra. Like it actually failed because of the heroes. Like she did her best, and they were all like, sorry, Sandra, and then voted for her. Whereas Sage, talked the entire time about getting out Savannah. And it's not just that she failed and it's like, look what you all did. Like, she alone let Savannah get through at 7, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's hard to wear that in a unanimous vote at 7, but like she kind of can. And that was the last
especially
time
with her saying
Savannah. So yeah.
Was it her that says, "Oh, you gave Savannah the game"? And I'm like, no, doll.
Yeah, she said that. She said that to Sophie, and then Savannah's never immune again. And like, it's very, very hard. We talk about this with juries all the time. It's a lot easier to defend a game that's better. And Sage had a lot of questionable things that we questioned that a jury would like have questions and pitchforks about. So yeah, I mean, I want to talk about all of that with the final tribal council. Before we get there, another inexplicable decision. I just love to talk about it for Sophie B while we're here, Blue Sophie, because, you know, last week we talked about her not stealing the idol and it was so upsetting. But part of me was like, look, Savannah's probably just going to win out. You know, like it's going to be the kind of thing was like, you should have done it, but you would have lost to Savannah because you're just not going to be able to ever take her out. But now seeing the way that it went and having the extra fire information that we didn't have, now knowing Sophie wins that challenge, it's like, oh, you steal the idol. Then at 5, you can take out Rizzo because she was so limited. She said she was a swing vote, but she wasn't because Rizzo was immune. If she has immunity, then Rizzo's an option and she can shore up with Sage and Christina. And then we know that she can put Christina into fire, but she's
against Savannah.
Idol for this, and then she's won the game. And it's so, and it's like, look, there are ways like, sure, she's not going to play the idol at 6, so she can have it at 5 in case she makes herself too big a target. So they could vote her out there. However, like Steven was a great shield, and then she can play it at 5, and then she won at 4. You know, like either Savannah's going to win at 4, or like, and Christina's going to go against her in fire, or like she's not. And now, like, you know, sorry, if Savannah wins at 4, the game's done. If Savannah doesn't win, Christina will go against her in fire. You've won the game. So it's like, it's on that, and Savannah didn't win. And that was like, because it was game losing. So unfortunate.
All of the end game mechanics are pretty much what cemented. Like I think like winning at fire for Savannah is like a huge resume tick. In the same way that like for like Sophie's end game pathway is stealing Rizzo's idol, voting out Steven and being like, cool, I'm done with you now. You're gone. Great. Now I'm immune. Rizzo, off you go. And now like.
Well, Savannah is vulnerable at 5, great. But like in the expected outcome that Savannah's not, now you have Rizzo as an option, and now you don't have to sacrifice what ended up being Christina, who was her fire weapon, apparently. Like she has this information, we didn't have that information. So like knowing that Savannah had, it's more unfortunate because like, okay, she wouldn't have known she'd win the challenge at 4, but like, you know, like if she does that, it's like, I'm going to win the game if Savannah doesn't win the challenge at 4. If she doesn't, then Christina will beat her. If she does, the game is lost. But like, and it's all on that. And we know she did it. But she knows at the time, Savannah has a weak spot, fire, and we have a fire weapon that none of the audience knew about last week. So it's an even more painful move knowing you get the jury chances, you get immunity, you get Rizzo as an option. You're going to have a vulnerable spot for Savannah, and you're going to have someone who can take that vulnerable spot in Christina and beat her. And then even with Christina having that on her resume, I think Sophie, who spoke so well to the jury, would have a great move. And like the worst thing Sophie did in the game was not steal the idol. So she'd have a great game. It would be like a great game. My God, it's so upsetting.
I would like Sophie's the edit was also sort of saying that Sophie repeatedly going, I'm going to do a big move. I'm going to do a big move. I'm going to do a big move. And then repeatedly.
He thought stealing the vote block was a big move.
But like that was the option B. I think that was the option B.
That was nothing. She thought it was going to be unanimous vote.
It was like it wasn't a big move. It was like a meh move. It was like I don't want to do the big thing, so I'm going to do the second thing that may not even work with very little. So the knowledge is power is only powerful if you have all of the knowledge. The only thing you had 100% knowledge about was Rizzo's idol. So arguably that is the Hail Mary you take. You put all of your eggs into that one basket because that's what's in that basket. That's it. Whereas this could be a steal vote, could be a block vote, don't know what it is. Like I wouldn't do it with such a powerful advantage at such a critical point. And like knowing Sophie's game would now have been like perfectly iced. She has a good sort of story to tell from like the 3 tribe phase, the tribe swap phase.
Good. Oh, it's so good.
You've got a brilliant edit.
It's brilliant. Like she's got like she's got like she struggled through the primo. She had to play a million times more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And then she came back just like Rizzo and Savannah did, and largely through a social game, which she spoke to so well at Final Tribal Council, that she was, and I do love that whenever anyone does that. I kind of felt like that way with like AJ, Miles, and Kaylin. But when you're like three sides of the like social, physical, strategic, and she was the social side, I think she spoke to that so well, and you've done that. But then you turn on them with this epic move, and then you win the last challenge and put Christina, your fire weapon, into fire. It's one of the best moves. It's one of the best games ever.
It's a good like mirroring of. It's a good taster. So like you see it, her start to do it at when it's like her telling Jeremiah one story and Alex one story, hiding in a tree, and you're like, okay, cool. This is what you're capable of. You're willing to look your like allies in the eye, lie to them, and to suit your game. And now, as you've matured through the game, you've done that again. Now you've like I would say the architecture of 49 changes completely.
And 50 because Sophie's on 50 too. Sophie's on 50 as well. She won the game and she's on. It's like actually crazy how much was lost because it's not even like if Wu takes Tony, if Wu takes Cass and Tony, he wins Kageyan, but he's like not a great winner, right? No, but like this is like going from like that was a kind of disappointing game. Like it's so upsetting that happened to like you not only won, that was a brilliant win. And you're on 50 and up, she just won 50. I don't know how, but she just won. Like the whole landscape of Survivor is different, but
because seasons are pretty much dictated by like the winner, because like you get the winner and then the edits. I don't know, with like US Survivor, it's a bit here and there. Australian, it's very much like winner and then and their friends and whatever you did to suit Miles's game plus minus. I don't know. It's like my season, I'm a weird anomaly. I don't know. Like I sort of come in somewhere. But like, yeah. Oh, Sophie.
It's painful.
Oh man.
I hope she doesn't. I mean, she used to like the
Sophie that could.
She said at Final Tribal Council that the answer she gave was like, I didn't need to steal the idol. Because we didn't see this, but like I need to see the idol because I was controlling it, and apparently everyone really liked that. And I was like, no, she wasn't controlling it, because if she stole it, she'd have way more options at 5. She could keep Christina to take out Savannah. She would have won the game. Like it's a completely different. Like the fact that she wasn't actually a swing vote. She said I'm between these two and Rizzo and Savannah, but when they were both immune, she wasn't a swing vote. If she was immune, then like if she had the idol, then Rizzo is free, and then she can actually shore up to actually take out Rizzo, and she can keep apparently the essential component to taking Savannah out of this game in her vulnerable spot, which was fire. And like, so I mean, it's crazy that worked for the jury, but it's not for me as a juror.
I think this season is very much illusions of threat, like this. Sure, hypothetical threat of Rizzo's idol, this supposed control Sophie had of the idol instead of direct control of an idol you hold and have stolen from someone. This like perceived fire threat. Maybe who knows? Christina could actually suck at fire. Who knows? But like one would assume. And then Savannah's like big blazing like Gloria threat that started very early on in the season when she wasn't actually that threatening. But yeah, it's all these like illusions of threat and illusion and delusion.
Yeah, I mean, like she's saying that that she would like it would be the same because she's controlling it, but at the final 5, she's nothing she can do. Because if Rizzo wants to beat Savannah at fire and doesn't want Christina to be there, then that's 3 votes against Christina. So and she doesn't have the idol to protect Christina. So Rizzo really becomes a swing vote there. Whether he needed to, we don't know. If he needed to, that's also something I'll criticize. But for Sophie, it's like, oh, it's so unfortunate that you let Christina go. But it's like it's more unfortunate that you didn't have the power because you lost that power in the idol.
However, not Christina. Sophie did say that like around that point is when Rizzo and Savannah stopped being 1 and 2, and Sophie and Rizzo became 1 and 2. So I don't know if that was what,
because I think they wanted to work together, but like
I'm pretty sure it was in the episode where they're like, oh,
Rizzo says Sophie's. I think he says Sophie's my number 1 right now.
Yeah. So I don't know
But if he's making the decision that he wants to go to fire, then like he has to take out Christina, and at that point the die is cast. So super unfortunate. Really. If she steals the idol, she knows it's literally just down to the final 4 challenge, which she ended up winning. So that sucks. Let's talk about the Final Tribal Council and what I said. What I thought was one of the most interesting moments of the
question
season.
That shook the nation.
Christina asked Savannah to name all of the jurors' loved one or partner or family member, and Savannah does. Well, she not Rizzo. She said outside of the trail. We didn't see Rizzo. We assume she knows about Rizzo. Of the other 7, she knew 2.
Nate. Yeah, Nate and Steven.
Yeah. What did you think of this? Because I got a lot of thoughts.
Well, it was very like take out your teeth.
Do you think so? Because a lot of people said that.
Because like it was so. I'm gonna say that if you asked me like to name some of the family members of my jury, if I was there, I would struggle. I knew like my close allies. I knew I knew Logan's kids, and but I would argue that I would not know a large proportion because arguably I didn't care.
That's I think the problem. I think this is what Christina was trying to point out. I think that
like I knew enough to when you play like socially, you find out things about people that you think will build a relationship. Like when I was trying to get to know Max, we talked about being into the the same type of music. We went to the same type of gigs. Like, did I ask him what his ex-girlfriend's name was and what his dad's name was? No. It didn't really work in the mechanics of me trying to cement a relationship. Same with like Kate. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. The common traits I have with you are X, Y, and Z. So therefore, I will try and get ABC information out of you. Like, I don't know. I thought AJ was Italian for like half the game.
Well, firstly, I'll compare it to the teeth thing. It's very tough in Final Tribal Council because when it's at its spiciest and its best TV, it actually is a traumatic event for the finalists. And this is something that 100%. I've really reckoned with in the last few years. And speaking with like Chrissy from Blood vs. Water in Australia, she really was like so traumatized. And I'm like, you weren't a fan, so you didn't know this is a like hazing ritual that we just have done since season 1. We're cruel. And it's great TV, but it's like, is the juice worth the squeeze? I actually thought this was great TV without being outwardly cruel. The teeth thing I thought has a level of cruelty that is beyond the game. I thought that also the teeth thing is beyond the game. I know it was like, well, you wouldn't have continued in the game, so I helped you in the game by finding your teeth. That does not feel in-game to me. However, knowing the names of loved ones to me, like, that is social game. Like, that's
it is social game.
Yeah, that's like part of the game. That used to be a challenge. Like Fallen Comrades,
Fallen
Comrades, where you have random facts, was literally a challenge in the game. It was literally something you could
Guatemala
assess in that way. And in many, so many
but like even like it's like the whole Gabon, like take a handful of Xanax and cut out your vocal cords and all thatness of it.
I don't think this was to the level of that cruelty. I really don't.
But personally. Like I appreciate the question. I think it was a good question because it created a good. I think it highlighted Savannah's weak points, which is what Christina was aiming to do, which I think is very fair for a jury member to do. However, if I was Savannah and I didn't really care about that aspect, I go, look, I know the things about my alliance members and the people that I needed to make relationships with. And frankly, learning names was not a part of my social game. I understand that's a weakness and I'll wear it, but I'm sorry, I would honestly double down. And I feel like, I forgot who did it. Someone doubled down and said, I don't really need to answer that question. I didn't really care about it. I cared about vote splits. I cared about where votes went. I cared about my allies. And when I needed to build social like relationships, I built it. Like Steven, someone Savannah really didn't have much of a relationship with. She knew some details because she needed to build a relationship with him. Soph as well needed to build some sort of relationship, so she found out critical information. MC and Savannah had absolutely no contact, I'm pretty sure.
Well, they were in a SWAT tribe together that didn't go to tribal council.
Yeah, like
people. You think you talk about stuff, but
like, yeah, I mean,
it's very, yeah,
I don't know. I was sort of like trying to think back to like my swap tribe and how much information like I garnered. Like and again, it differs from social strategy. Like a Logan definitely would learn all of these bits of details. I would find out enough to get by so that I would have like a veil of care, but it would not factor much into my, and I don't know, and I respect Savannah for it. She tried and she was like, look, I can't really answer that. And Christina went, no, try, which I also really appreciated because I was like, yeah, go for it, Christina. That's very valid.
I I actually quite like the way she answered the question, as badly as it went, and it was like a shocking moment, because she did name personal things that she knew about everyone that she could, and she was sorry and she took accountability. I almost thought that she could be like, look, you've been targeting me the whole game. It's hard to connect, but people might not like the excuse. I mean, the excuse actually kind of is there. I think what's interesting about this is, like, Savannah has had social limitations. This is something we know to be true. We've heard it in X interviews. We've heard it on the show. It's only being asked because, A, she has that massive chasm with Christina, which we can talk about, and Christina wants to bring her down. Christina knows she can't do it. She's looking to try cost her votes. And because she can't do it. You know, like, Christina's not betting on the fact that she knows Savannah can't do that. It's something Christina can probably do. Seems like something Sophie can do. It's a tough one because I tweeted and I said, I think this might lose my vote. Now, in the heat of the moment,
really,
that's how I felt. I felt like it was such a massive in-game failing. But thinking about it, against Sage and Sophie, who have had much bigger in-game failings, and she's so out in front, it would be tricky for me. I'm not out there at the time. I think all of these things are very different. I don't expect someone to know, like, my parents' names. I'm probably going to be referring to them like my mom, my dad. But just knowing myself, if I was on the island and how I am in life, I'd be like, Peter and I did that. Peter and I did that. And it's not about memorizing my husband's name, but, like, if you'd be like, were you listening to me at all? Like, it's such a huge part of who I am. So it's hard for me to say, because I don't know how much they talk about those things. Like, how much does Jawan or Sophie refer to their siblings by name? I think all of the jurors are different. Like, she knows Nate. So you can't just say it's a pure memory thing, because she does know Nate, to be fair, who's been gone the longest. And then, like, MC a little bit less. Like, Alex, they talked about work. They weren't together that long. Jawan is an interesting one, because Jawan, she was there with day one, and she simply did not care about Jawan, and her social game was bad with Jawan. We know that. And then Steven she got, so that was good. And then Christina, I would be upset if I was Christina, because Christina has young children and a husband. Like, that is different. I don't really expect people to know, like, no offense to Jason, my brother. Jason, remember that one. That, like, I don't expect people to know my brother as much, but, like, yeah, I expect you to know my husband and my cats. So I think, like, it kind of depends, like, what the family structure is, how important, what those values are to people, and, like, and how much it comes up. But you can't just say, well, Savannah has a bad memory, because it's like, well, she knew it for Nate. She knew it for her people. And that was also, to be fair, what Christina was putting into the question. She said, you know your people, do you know the rest? And that was proven true. Kind of.
And, like, this is just, so early on in Brainsy Bron 2, how I gauged how much people cared about me, or actually factored me into decision making, was whether they could actually pronounce my name right. Rich,
that's so exactly.
Rich,
yes,
not for the life of me, could not pronounce it. AJ from the start. Yeah, AJ also couldn't pronounce it at the start, and I was like, oh, fishy.
That's such a good comparison.
Miles told me specifically, as soon as he figured out that it was like a sticking point for me, he would go back to the well and be like, Karin. Do not call Kaz until specifically told to call Kaz. It's Karin. And I was like, Miles was like, yep, I wanted to work with you. You were important in my game, and I knew this was a sticking point for you. And I was like, okay, and I think, like, now when you mention it, I think if I was like, if you were a smarter social player, you'd go, okay, your kids are definitely and vitally important to you. You, like, recite their names during challenges. You already hate me. I don't want to give you other reasons to.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely a miss-it.
Yeah, I mean,
but when it's highlighted like that, I don't know. I think you can be like sort of stumbly and gracious in sort of, and acknowledge in the way Savannah did, or I would just double down and be like, yeah, cool. My strong points were, like, my strategy and my physical prowess. I am not good socially. Miles did it in our final tribal, where he was like, yeah, I have tremendous social misgivings. I am bad at this. And we all kind of went, yeah, Miles, you are.
Shame, poor kid, like, someone help him.
And, like, actually, I don't know if I can't even remember if they showed it in our final tribal. There was one point where Kaylin went around and individually told us, like, what he liked about us. And we found that actually quite, like, disingenuous, to be honest. And Miles kind of went, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And we all laughed, and we're like, yeah, cool.
It's interesting because it's like, it's going to matter to the jurors it matters to. Like, for the 5 people she couldn't answer, she does get 2 of those votes. They either felt like she did connect with them, and she probably did, or they didn't care. And I think that, to be fair, like Savannah did more than enough. As I'm saying, like, it might lose my vote, but then I'm like, oof, maybe against someone, maybe definitely against Rizzo. Like, I'd probably be leaning Rizzo anyway, but like against like Sophie and Sage, when like, again, I think that this is a social game failing to criticize. However, there are other much bigger things, I think, probably to criticize from Sophie and Sage's game. But yeah, I think what's interesting about it is that for a long time, a lot of people have said, well, the jury just votes for who they like the most. And I'm like, they really don't. Please, like, it's overly simple at best, and it's actively wrong. We saw with Miles this year, you know, like we've seen it twice this year, possibly more if some people had like an actual friendship with Luke over Parvati. But I think what I've always said is, like, if the jury like you all or like two people, they might vote for the person they respect more, even if they like them less, but they still like them. And if they don't like you at all, that one's going to be tricky. Like, if there's someone they like and someone they actively dislike, that one's going to be tricky. I think that was true probably for MC and Christina. Jawan likes Savannah more than he should have. I don't think he realized what was happening out there. But like, I think
MC switched to. I'm pretty sure that was like a deciding point for MC. Like, it definitely.
She said she was leaning. I don't think she was leaning to Sage. So and I think that the combination of everything, she said she switched. I think Alex and Sophie, whose names she didn't know their loved ones, and Stephen, she struggled when she got there. Kelsey, I think it was, but she, I think they probably did like her. I think they probably like Sophie more, but I think they respected her game enough, and I think that remains true. If you like them enough, you can respect them more. But it's really never been the person you like more. So I'm glad. Like, can we put that to bed? That's just so wrong. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, so Miles and I had this argument where. Miles and I argue all the time about a lot of things. But he's always like, no, if I'm going to be a jury member, I have the right to be emotional and I will vote for the person I want to vote for regardless. And I'm like, no, you would not. No, this is not how your brain computes. Like, you like people, but then you look at it from a vantage point because you are a player.
I thought the same thing until I was like, damn, I don't know if I could vote for someone who couldn't tell me Peter's name. Like, and that would be my right as a juror. And that would be a social game failing. Now, again, I might say, and Peter's like, that's very sweet. And I'm like, maybe I probably still would vote for her, but I would wrestle. It's enough that I would wrestle, okay? I'd wrestle.
Actually, no. I held it to the end of like our game when Kaylin spelled my name wrong. I was like, I will not vote for you.
Did you spell his name? Well, you couldn't. No, he spelled him to win.
No, he spelled my name wrong. When he voted me out. I was
but it's like you wish you would vote for him to win, but you spell his name wrong. But then you're ready to win. So it's like,
I'm gonna spell it with it. But I was just like, I spoke to him afterward, and I was like, that really like got to me. I was like, Kaylin, we have initials on our water bottles. You are like, you know, KL. I am KG. Like,
he's like, so C. Yeah,
he spelled it with a C.
No, it wasn't like a Q. I'm like, where else could this
go? Yeah. I don't know, but I don't know. I thought like I liked the question because I think it's a good one to, if you don't if you don't get along with a player and you think they have a significant vice, I think as a jury member, very much highlight it. Like, that's what you're supposed to do so people can make an informed decision. Whether I think I would have probably done what Savannah did, if not gone, yeah, cool. Great story.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Christina's asking that shows a real social game failing in the relationship with Christina. However, I will also say, I've also long argued, it's not just the finalist's fault if there's been a relationship breakdown there. And Christina said in X interviews that she dislikes Savannah from the pregame. So then you're like, well, that's not on Savannah. However, we do know that we've seen Savannah not handle that relationship correctly. We've seen social flaws in Savannah's game, and they're valid. I think it's incredibly fitting that we compared her social game to old school Parv, whose social game has become a lot more comprehensive as she's 20 years older now. Yes. And she did, much like when Parvati won Micronesia, she won 5 votes and she lost 3. I think and I think 3 very much socially she lost, and that Savannah lost, and I think that is fitting, and I think really does show that this question was like tangibly pointing out a limitation in a way that wasn't just like explaining a social game. It was like, here's a test to see how you've done socially. And it might not be a perfect metric because, as you're saying, there are other ways to connect with people, but it gave her like a platform for that Christina felt she would fail at. But I just felt the reaction to it was the most shocking thing to me. It made me feel 100 years old. Like, firstly, from a society perspective, I was told that expecting that of people was like ableist basically because of like, you know, and I am neurodivergent, so like please.
Same.
And then I also like heteronormative, and I get like
what?
It is about, well, it's no, to be fair, like I don't know, like it's about certain family structures, but it's like mostly about like it doesn't really matter, you know, where you are on that spectrum. It's about knowing things that are important and people that are important to the people in your life. And the first thing I want to say from a society standpoint is like, this is a virtue. Like, I'm probably pretty good at this, but I could be better. You know, I spent the last few days thinking, this is something to strive for. I want to be better at this. I want to know more of the people in my life's loved ones' names. Like, that is not something where it's like, it's unfair to expect that of people. And I absolutely refuse to. It has to be Twitter brain rot. But like, I refuse to think that. I think that we'd all be better off, like, learning more, yes, about like the people we love.
Oh no, I have a note on my phone. I have like a notes app where I've got like, you know, for example, when like Laura was having her like birthday party, I made a note of being like, this is Laura's friend from acting school. This is Laura's friend from high school. This is her aunt. And so if I go to Greek Easter, I need to know Auntie Anna's name. Like, this is otherwise it's gonna be like, but like that's the thing. And like, for example, like knowing what your friends' jobs are also quite important. So I think like the reaction is like, I think and some of the other things were like, oh, it's 26 days. How do you expect people to like remember things? We're going like stir crazy. We know every like tribal voting split from day 1 to 20, like 47.
Exactly.
We remember
that's exactly how I felt. Is I'm like, you know what? I can name pretty much the boot orders for most Survivor seasons. I should know my friends' loved ones' names. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what made me think about, it's like, what really matters in life? And I was like, actually, it pushed me further to how important this is. The fact that everyone's like, I don't need to know that. It's like, okay, whatever. If you have things in your life that makes you not able to know that, that's almost a separate thing. However, it's like a good social ambition. Like, that would make society better. And it's like a good thing to strive for in life. In the game, it's certainly a good thing to strive for, as we've seen, because it's a part of the game. It's a social game. It's a
Heroes v Australian Survivor, Heroes v Villains. It was Sean Hampson asking Jerry the question, being like, Jerry, you didn't actually make any inroads to connect with me, and you said that there was an age gap, but you know, like I like the outdoors, you like these things. We have such huge common threads, but you just refused to acknowledge it. So we actually have a lot of things in common. So yeah, okay, cool. No, all right, there you go.
Yeah,
and I think that lost like jury respect for Jerry in that scenario as well. And I can't remember where else it happened, but a lot, I'm sure. Yeah, like I think this question can be weaponized quite effectively, and it's all about styles of play. Like, again, like I've said that, you know, my sort of misgivings is I pick out information that I need and I kind of like just gloss over the rest. If I'm going to mature as a player, I think that is something I would go, okay, right.
Yeah. As a human, I want to do that as a human being. I really feel that way.
Yeah, no, like, and that's the thing. I feel like in the grand scheme of life, we sort of overlook a lot of these things. And if Survivor is the biggest social experiment we can do, one could argue we should probably be paying attention to these things.
Well, a lot of the reaction was like, it's out, without, play out, last, not out name. Is this junior high? I got a lot of those responses. And
but that's looking at it very just like surface level. It's that's not the nitty gritty of it. It's have you taken, like, do you respect the players you're playing with enough to go, this is the crux, this is the why of your game, this is why you're out here, these are the people that are important to you, that have shaped the structure of the human you are. I should know this in my head. So Logan did it really well when we were at Tribe Swap, where she goes, you know, I don't know if Ursula wants to have another kid. I don't know, like, if Kristen wants to get married to a partner, all of these things. And it was like such a effective pitch where it went, oh shit, she's been paying attention. And like when you're sitting there, you're going, oh, this person cares. Like,
exactly.
Even if you were a big strategy nut, you go, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, in life, there's no downside. In the game, the downside, I guess, is like the Sage thing, where it's like, you knew me so well and you still hurt me. Like, everything in the game could be a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But I do think, as you said, it's not really about memorizing it. Like, I need to know. I mean, if that helps you and like it is something you're striving for, I think that's probably good. But like, someone who just innately knows you or has taken the time to actively care, that's what it's trying to show. It's not going to be a perfect way to do that in the structure, but it's trying to show that. And I think that there was kind of a similar reaction when Q asked Q asked all of them, what will you spend the money on? And it's funny because I feel like Savannah's like the anti-Kenzie as a winner. Like Kenzie was so social, but she lacked otherwise. And Savannah, obviously, like that was her weak point. And Kenzie also like knocked a similar question like out of the park. It was like her crowning glory for me. And people were like, well, that's outside the game. It's like, no, how people see you as a human is often the game, not always. And Savannah covered it in many other ways. There are people who might not care about that at all. It's player-led. The players are the jurors. It's an incredibly diverse format. That's why Survivor remains so compelling. However, yes, as much as winning a challenge is knowing things about your competitors, and when I say as much, it could be more or less to varying degrees, depending on the culture of the season and even the cultures of particular jurors, let alone the whole jury. So it was funny because at the time, people said that's not part of the game. I'm like, no, that is the game. And I really do think people who are like, this is outside of the game, to me, and I hate to be harsh, like kind of don't understand what we're doing here on Survivor. I'm like, it cannot be 2025. And like people are saying that isn't Survivor. And the crazy thing about it is people were like, this is like exactly what's wrong with the new era. Because I think they're thinking of that like emotion and the journey and the sob stories. But I'm like, actually what the new era gets like criticized about is being really super fan heavy and game body. This was old school jury fire. This was a diversity in values, which I think is always good. And this was, again, an old school challenge. Like that type of social experiment, just put 16 people on a beach social connection experiment, was kind of all of old school Survivor. This was incredibly old school to me. That's like not necessarily what the game is about because the players decide what it's about, but it certainly is often what the game is about. Certainly social capital is often what fuels strategy. And this is all of that. So for people to say this is completely outside of the game, even like possibly more than the Q question, I was like, this is very in-game to me.
I think Christina highlighted sort of like maybe maybe this is how the game will shift going forwards. Like, yes, new era has been like superbly game body. So maybe this is highlighting that flaw, being like, hey, we've gone so far away from like old school Survivor where like, it wasn't idols and advantages. It was pure like, social equity that got you through at some points. Maybe that was the highlight. I think like if you have misgivings, you either like, if I was Savannah and I was like, damn, the chink in my armor is very on display. Like how you respond to it is how you respond to it. You double down or you graciously accept that this is your, this is your vice. But I think that question, like they were like, I don't know, people on like Facebook groups being like, oh my God, I hate it. God, it made my brain like hurt. I was like, no, I think it's a great question. I think it's a great question. I like it. I like it in all aspects. And like, I've always said that like this whole thing about like, Survivor is algorithmic. You can't be emotional. I think you can be emotional. Like emotion is everything in this game. It's like how you react, how you respond to it, not how you react to it. And I think like that was the crux of it. Christina brought out the emotion in everyone, clearly on the jury as well. And it was pretty much how Savannah responded that would dictate how everyone voted. And it did. So I think it's a good question. It's a targeted question. And I like it because I like it for all of the reasons that Christina wanted it to be. It was pointing out this is a failing of Savannah. I'm not going to vote for her. Nothing I think she's going to say is going to make me vote for her. And I'm going to point it out right now, which I love as well.
It was so compelling in every way. It was a compelling question. It was compelling that Savannah couldn't do it. And it was compelling that mattered to some and not to others. It was compelling that might have turned MC off. But ultimately, like Savannah had done enough in other ways. And for other juries, that might not be true. Or other juries might not care at all. Like all of that to me is so compelling. And the funny thing is like, I'm a game bot. Like I'm the person they would cast on the new era, the theater kid, the like Disney adult who's a super fan and game bot. And I'm the one who's like, I know you all have relationships, but like the people on the bottom get together, take out the person on the top. Can't you see it? It's obvious. Like I'm like, sometimes it's chess. Like I literally say that. And I'm like, but the way that the moves, the pieces are often played on this chessboard is through social capital. So to say it's outside the game is crazy to me. And just one last thing on this. I do think it is true that we are more critical of it just as a society of the way we watch women play than men. Anti-social men than women. But I will say to that as well, I don't think that the solution to that is to like let women off the hook. I think we should be harsher on the anti-social men. I think that's my solution to that, is like, come at them as well. Like, this is, again, a social virtue. It's a game virtue. If men are getting away with it, that's my concern. We should make it even, but like even critically is,
you know, it's a social failing on like regardless of like gender or anything. It's a social failing, but exactly. I think women are judged on it more harshly because you're like, you're supposed to know these things. You're the most social, amiable creature. You're supposed to know things. How dare you not know someone's mother's name? But whereas like, and that's the thing, would that question be like targeted at, like, for example, Steven, or like, I don't know, like
Jerry got it, as you said. So like Jerry got it. So like that to me is a lot on like how bad the relationship with Christina was, but also possibly I think it's kind of less from Christina for me, because it was like Christina really hated Savannah. It's just so funny because a couple of weeks ago they were like, this is all an act. I'm like, it's not. You guys don't like each other. But I think it's less from Christina that I'm like, yeah, as a society we might be like, you weren't a delicate enough winner, Savannah. And my thing is more like, Savannah should be criticized, but so should men.
But like, this is my thing about doubling down. Does she need to be delicate? Like Savannah has sort of like,
she doesn't need to be delicate, but she shouldn't have as big of social gaps. But she had more than enough to cover for the gaps. Like the nuance of it is why it's interesting.
Like, I think it's like, that's why it's such a good question, because it creates so much more dialogue in how this game can be played, which is why I think I really like it.
I agree. It made me think. I think everyone go ask one of your friends their loved one's mom's name. You know, they're at least I thought the better question would have been name our pets, because I'm like, that definitely loses my vote. If they don't know Peter, I'm between it, but if they don't know my cats, I'm out. I'm all the way out. I don't care if you play the worst game of all time, you're getting my vote.
I'm pretty sure people didn't know I even had a cat. No.
You talked about other things other than your cat?
I think
can't relate.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what I talked about. Yeah, I can't remember. If
I'm ever a juror, I want people I'm playing with to know. The question's going to be name my cat. Don't even go through the jury. Name my cat specifically. And I'll vote based on it. I'm not kidding.
No. Okay.
So that was the highlight of Final Tribal Council. I thought, honestly, a lot of the questions were good. Did anything else stand out to you about Final Tribal Council that you liked or didn't like?
Oh my god, who asked the question of what, like, is the should your why dictate?
That was Jawan. Yeah.
Jawan. I thought that was a good question. And I think like I think both Savannah and Soph said, look, this is my why, but no, it shouldn't really like dictate why you give me, you know, the money. Like how important the reason I'm playing this game shouldn't really dictate why you give me money, or you give me the vote. And I think that was, again, a good question, because it sort of highlights what a jury's temperature is and what their values are as well, and as also how a player is also gauging the jury as well in how they answer. So I thought that was a clever question.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Jawan, very heart-led. I mean, I thought they were very considered questions, very like specific to the group, which was good. I think it was Sophie's question about where you were in the trio or duo. And I thought they all did really well with this. I said I loved what Soph did in terms of being that social component of the trio, because that would appeal to me, because that might be, I really like the strategy stuff, as I say, just coming off that conversation about social game, but I really love what Rizzo did. But yeah, in my value system, I would, like, against Savannah, who was really like protecting physically, I think that, you know, Savannah did answer this well. She protected physically to protect her whole alliance. And I think that she, you know, compared to other defensive winners, you know, I feel like Rachel was defensive, but like in a more diverse way of those defenses. Savannah was very physical, but she like maximized strategically on that. And that protection gave them so much ability to do stuff. So I think that Savannah answered that well. But yeah, like for Sophie, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I do really care about that, and that you were making the inroads. And we've heard things like a lot of the leaks were getting through because Christina was telling Sophie, and then they blame it on like an Alex. So like really key stuff here. And then Sage, saying that she was like the strategist. Like, again, if it was an easier game to defend, it might have gone off better, but I thought this was pretty good. And then like they had to talk about their most persuasive move from MC and their best move, which was interesting. Yeah. Savannah says the Christina move for persuasiveness, which, I mean, it was a good move. It was very important for them to take out Christina.
Yeah.
So,
and I think
yeah.
when she explained the sort of like strategy of getting Christina out and her sort of like not wanting to go to fire with her, I think I like that answer, because I was like, yeah, cool. Like that really makes sense. Everyone else wanted to, you persuaded them to go against, to be honest, their best interests.
Yeah. I think it was good. I think another one that would have been really good. A couple, Savannah won a lot of good options, an easy game to defend. The MC vote. Hearing from a lot of the X interviews, it's like without Savannah there, that wouldn't have gone through. And I think that there's such a good story there around like Nate went. We were down in the dumps. I won the challenge. I ended up saving my vote that I used later as the extra vote, even if Jeff thinks it didn't matter. They still got stuff out of that extra vote, which is rare, and really put the pressure on to take out MC. And at that point, like the dominoes, they didn't just start falling, they started cascading from Hina at the point where MC, who was so central, was gone. So I think MC was a good option, but she has a couple of options. Sage talked about the Steven vote, and it's hard because, I think, was it Steven here? Yes, it was Steven. She talks about Steven, and then later she talks about Sophie. Both really difficult moves to defend. I think that's like, this is specifically what we're angry about, is that you were the reason Hina got destroyed.
And sure. And like her sort of argument was like, yeah, no, I was thinking about me. I was going to get myself. And I'm like, oh, sure, but you were getting yourself to the end with players that were also stacking moves onto their resumes, arguably far better than you, because you were essentially playing into what they wanted. So I get it. Yes. Like, and I don't know if they included it, but I would say like Sage not mentioning any of the sort of early merge where and like even before that, where Joanne and her, Shannon.
Yeah, like, I would have gone on to the Shannon stuff, I think.
Like middle game, it was all Joanne and Sage. Like that was a key sort of like turning point in how the landscape of like even the end game turned out. So yeah, like I would say I would have just very much maybe, and that's the thing, maybe she didn't have the awareness to understand that the Soph vote and the Steven vote would have been looked down upon quite significantly, because I don't know, from my perspective, having stabbed Steven so badly in the back, I would have been like, you know what, let's gloss over that. Let's look at what I did here. That was great. That was really good. And this
she made these moves. She has to speak to them. Like you're not going to be proud of them and you did them like 3 days ago. Like they were the wrong moves. And that's why I'm saying it's a harder game to defend. The Shannon stuff, it's like I was at the bottom of Uli and then I really like made that cut. Now that might not look great sitting there with Savannah, who was like your major obs on Uli, but I do think it's like when she cemented herself. So I think Shannon probably like is some of her best, like actual best stuff. So I'd go with that. And then Soph talks about the Jeremiah vote, which is like kind of a meh vote and so long ago. It's hard because I would rather she's doing some of those middle votes again, like how important her information was, but that's not really like persuasive, which was the question for this. I think the fact that she maybe doesn't have that answer of what she was persuasive about kind of does cement in people's minds like she was a follower to Rizzo and Savannah, and like that's what they're trying to avoid. So I think this was like a tricky one that probably fed into the bad stuff. But then for the best move, she goes back to like her social game, which I think was repetitive but fair. Savannah says getting out Sophie. Sorry, not getting out Sophie. Getting out Sophie, but first getting in Sophie. Pulling over Sophie, which was lethal because that takes out Jawan, and then she took out Sophie. So I thought that was really good. And then, and then Sage said the Sophie vote, and people didn't love that because, again, it was like the last time that they had a shot at Savannah. Yeah. So that wasn't great. It was funny when it was sad when Sage was upset at the after show, and Jeff gave her the most nonsensical thing. He was like, I was once told a quote that it's like, if you learn people's stories, then you know their stories. Because we all have a story. I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything, Jeff. What is happening right now?
And that's why I was just like, oh, thank you so much, Jeff. And I'm like, what? I didn't get any of that. Maybe that was edited out. Oh, like the Jeffness of it all like frustrates me beyond belief. But it's that can we get rid of that corny whatever that was?
The after show in general, or Jeff?
Yes, that as well. The after show. Oh my god, that is like nightmare fuel. Like, could you imagine doing an after show immediately after like you lost $1 million, and then have to sit with a jury that have absolutely shredded you, and being like, cool, this is great. Let's drink champagne. I would honestly like, be on the next boat home.
Yeah, it's also upsetting because it's like if they were gonna ask one thing at the after shows, you know what I would have really liked? Even take Christina out of it. If Rizzo wins Fire, what are the votes? Like, even without Rizzo being able to campaign at a final tribal council, which is kind of unfair, then we know. But instead, they can all be in exit interviews being like,
no, I would like that. Well, this is the thing. I feel like the only and this is from like being in jury and like speaking to people. What you can only like believe is what people say immediately after
at the after show.
Yeah,
yes, that's like the best part about the after show is that they have the opportunity to do that, and they didn't ask. It's so irritating to me. I'm like, this is why I'm here.
Because like once you go back home and like your brain sort of like untangles itself, you like it's a completely different story. So that is the only thing they should do in an afterward. What would you have done if the final three was this? And you put a show of hands and you go, damn, this is great. That's it. And then everyone goes home and has the shower.
But that's then instead we have to find out about Jake's kid again. And I'm like, the baby's Jack's. I'm trying to commit loved ones. Not that Jake's my loved one, but I'm like, Jack. Like, trying to get it. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like the after show, at that point, I'm still really reeling from Christina's question. I felt bad for Sage because clearly she was feeling it. I think the biggest thing about the after show was obviously the 50 preview. What did you think of that?
I loved it at the start, where you got Coach Psychobabble. Like, it was I loved that. And then like just a pan to Colby and then the back of Ozzy's head, which I think a lot of people thought was Shambo.
Poor Ozzy. Poor Ozzy. He doesn't look great. I mean, like he kind of looks like how I expected Colby. But like Colby was looking good,
Colby looks good. I remember texting like I don't know who I texted. I think I texted like either Laura or Miles, and I was just like, "Oh, damn, Colby! All right, cool, still got it." And then immediate flash to Ozzy, and I went, "Oh, okay."
Poor Ozzy. Poor Ozzy. It hasn't been that long. We saw him in 2017.
And he didn't look that bad. I mean, not that
he looks good now. We're not judging.
We're not judging. It was just an unfair like lighting.
I think it's hard because they put him in the same camo shirt. It's like we're gonna be comparing him to what he was. What Ozzy was when we saw him 20 years ago. I was literally the first time I saw Ozzy, I was in middle school. So
like no mention of Genevieve. Where is Genevieve? There's like a tiny like segment of her under like one of the challenge, but Genevieve's not. Emily Flippin, not even like
I mean, it took Genevieve like 4 episodes last season she was on to get the screen time. So we kind of, if you're a Genevieve fan, you're used to it.
But I suppose Genevieve is like, she's only just got an Instagram like I think like a week ago.
It was so maybe days ago,
yeah. So maybe that's sort of like a mirror image of like what her social media presence has been. But like it started off well. I was like, cool, kind of like Australia versus the world with all the airport shots.
Yeah, that's why we did it first. Yeah,
I was like, are you getting some inspo? And then I was like, I think just angry with Mr. Beast and Billy Boomerang, whatever it was.
The Eilish Boomerang Idol?
Yeah, and apparently, like, Zach Brown. Why? Does Zach Brown watch Survivor? I don't know.
Zach Brown?
Isn't he like a musician? He's like a country, like, he's just sings. Okay,
isn't it Zach Bryan?
Is it Zach Bryan or Zach Brown? I don't know which one it is.
Zach Bryan?
Someone tell me. I thought it was the musician. Who's Zach Brown?
Okay.
Someone tell me what Zach Brown is.
I don't actually know if it's.
Oh no, he is a singer-songwriter. Okay.
Zach Bryan or Zach Brown?
Zach Brown.
Oh, Zach Brown.
Okay. Oh,
and why is that? Okay.
No. Zach Brown sings "Chicken Fried." Do you know? No.
I'm so old. Aren't you hearing me? I'm like, get off your phones and connect with your fellow man.
Cold beer on a Friday night. Pair of jeans that fit just right. No. Okay, never mind.
No, but please keep going. I don't know this person. I'm old. I barely know Billie Eilish. Okay, I'm so old.
Shannon, we're like the same age, I think.
Well, I I'm sorry. I don't know how to break it to you, but...
I was about to say, like, you know, maybe I'm chronically online, but you're also chronically online.
I am chronically online, but I'm very specifically chronically online. I'm chronically online, like people will tell me that it's ableist to, or heteronormative to expect, you know, people to know things about their friends. That's my level, but I don't know, because Peter and I did a podcast the other night when we were talking about social media, and he was like, are the kids still rickrolling? I'm like, we're 80 years old. It passed so quickly. I've really enjoyed these many decades with you.
No.
And I don't know if they are. Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not. They're not. But
they're not?
No, they're not. I don't think so.
No one's recalling anymore.
I don't think so. At least not on my TikTok algorithm.
That got phased out. The crazy thing about the celebrity cameos is I feel like we knew so much about 50. Like we knew the whole cast ages ago. Yeah. We did the draft. We, you know, knew about hands of the, you know, it's in the hands of the fans. We voted on, well, I didn't vote.
Hands of the fans.
Australia. Yeah. Did anyone even have like the faintest idea of the celebrity thing? Because I hadn't heard one thing. So it was shocking. Obviously, it was surprising. Yeah. I didn't expect a surprise at all. And I certainly didn't expect that surprise. I think what's hard for me about the 50 preview and what might be true of 50 in general is there's a lot of good stuff. But that's almost more unfortunate. Because you know what I mean? It's like, wow, this is, you know, like we have Christian and Mike White, and I love Cerie so much. And like Q's already making me laugh, and Angelina's back. And it's like, but then there are some casting decisions where you're like, why? And then the celebrity cameos came out, and it's like, maybe it would be better if it was just all bad. But instead it's like, no, like, you're gonna wreck other things that are important to me. You know, like why is Cerie gonna be like there with like, is Cerie gonna get screwed over by the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol? Because like we used to be like a country, you know, like we had the Tyler Perry Idol, but like,
that was abysmal. Yeah. That was terrible. And and didn't Jeff say he wasn't gonna do it again because it was so bad? But like, this is like,
but Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol is different.
I don't know, but this is the thing. I don't know if this is just like the heralding advantage getting where Cerie gets boomeranged on an idol and
it'll be our fault as Australians.
Why?
The boomerang. It's our thing, like, right?
I don't know. Maybe like I don't get it. Apparently, Mr. Beast or whatever his name is a big Survivor fan.
I barely know Mr. Beast.
I don't know.
I've aged out of Survivor. It's so upsetting. It's for so many different reasons, as explained in this podcast. I've aged out of Twitter. I've aged out of Survivor. I think it's like the mom energy that I'm bringing now. Like it's sad, but it's true. Like I don't even and yeah, I just.
But like I hate it too, so I don't know if we're both aging out. Like Karin.
Karin. I don't know how to tell it to you more politely. Okay.
No, I am 27. I refuse to believe that I'm in my early 30s. I'm 27, and I will believe that until someone tells me otherwise.
Maybe I'm telling you.
No, I will. I haven't gotten Botox, but I will. I will get enough Botox that my face doesn't move.
You can't reverse what's happening. It's done. It was done. Like it's not like a Boomerang Idol. It's not aging's not like a Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. But the thing is, we do know for certain now. I think we thought it with the Mike White stuff. Ironically, he's on the season, and like the Tyler Perry Idol. Like we know how to fix the show. Someone in the community. We must pick the most talented among us. They will become a famous person. They will get in Jeff's ear. That is it. That's why I'm like, I'm going to pick up the guitar again. Okay, please buy my single. It's a single called like Two Tribes. And Two Tribes are better than three. And that's going to be, we can all do it. I think we just pick the most talented person, and that person becomes famous, and that person fixes the show.
But like, if we're aging out of Survivor, surely Jeff is aging out of Survivor.
Oh, no, because Jeff is like desperately clawing on. I'm not. I'm happy. I know. I'm like, get off your phone. And I'm on my phone all the time, but I'm like, go outside, kids. Talk to your neighbors.
Remember their names.
Yeah, remember yeah.
Dad's name.
And I stand by it. And I'm like the fact that I'm like, wow, people don't understand Survivor, and there's like a social rot. I'm like at that point.
It's basically like I don't know. It feels like we've like TikTokified Survivor, and I hate it here.
It's everything. It's literally, this was a whole and I really enjoy Sage. I relate to Sage in many ways, but I said this when Sage like rejected Shannon's hug that I feel like I also don't understand the like recovering people pleaser thing. I think as someone who's like a current people pleaser, I'm like, this kind of just gives us an excuse to like not be nice to other people. And I'm like, talk to your neighbors. Like, go, yeah, I think it's a me thing. I think it's where I'm at in my life, but this is all beyond weird. Me. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is all well beyond me. I know Jimmy Fallon. But I don't think that's a youth thing.
The only, like, maybe I'm excited about but if Christian Ubeki gets out because of Jimmy Fallon, I will like boycott Jimmy Fallon for the rest of my life.
Are you currently watching Jimmy Fallon?
I watch late night television. Okay. I don't know. Oh. I'm chronically I watch TV.
I'm chronically everywhere. Nothing I do isn't chronic. That's what it is. It's like everything I do is I don't do anything not chronically. Yeah. All right. Well, now I feel bad about myself and my age. Maybe we should not know the loved ones' names.
No,
and maybe we should learn more about Zach Brown. What are his loved ones' names?
I knew one song.
He married Kelly.
Who?
Oh no, sorry, they're already divorced. Oh, that's so unfortunate. That was only in 2023. I can't keep up. This is why it's hard. He's now dating Kendra Scott. And they're engaged. Okay, great. So we know exactly. So this is talk to your pop stars. You never know when they're going to fix Survivor or break it. So where are we?
But I don't like. But Mike White did say it was kind of like a high school reunion or a massacre, and I'm clutching at the word massacre because I can't like. I want it to be like they were. So I think this is me, but they were like sort of like nods to Winners at War with the final challenge because Nat Anderson did the whole like board thing and the ball thing as well. She put Sarah Lacina and Tony into fire, kind of reminiscent of Rizzo and Savannah going into fire. Yeah. So I was like, cool, maybe those are the little nods. And 40, like I think 40 when it came out, I didn't sort of like, I don't know. But then watching 40 back, I've grown to appreciate it. And I'm hoping 50 is like just an all-out battle royale of like all of these, like, you know, people that have maybe aged out of Survivor hitting, like going head on with the Gen Z.
With the kids.
With the kids.
They should rickroll them. They won't even know what hit them. They'll be like, what? Yeah. I
mean, Survivor, retirees versus Gen Z.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're a whole generation up from where we were, which is so upsetting. I think as well, I loved Winners at War, and that had Edge of Extinction. So no Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol is going to get me, but it's the cast that will get you. And I still have my questions, but let's see how 50 goes. Should we get to the Chizzy? Before we get to 50, we have to actually crown a Chizzy winner, and I actually don't know how this is going to go. Take it away, Jacob Sager-Weinstein and MC Color. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's getting kind of chizzy. 3, 2, 1. All right, so I'm going to give mine first because then you're going to decide the winner. I'll give 3 points to Savannah. She got it done and well. She's a very physical winner, which isn't, again, my value system, but that's not what matters. But she also like maximized physically. She is someone who was protected from 6-on and many other times. But yeah, I think that she used that in her alliance more than you would think one could do. She had one big gap at the Nate vote, and then otherwise very much fought from the bottom, very much a defensive win, but they just wielded it so offensively. And yes, Hina, they didn't do great, right? But you still have to credit what Savannah and Rizzo and Sophie all did together and what Savannah was able to pull off alone, even being such a big target. So I'll give 3 points to Savannah, even though the question wasn't great. She did more than enough to cover for that. I'll give 2 votes to Sophie. The Christina move is unfortunate, but it's again like that was the bed was made because she didn't actually have the power in that vote, and that's like the sins of last week. I think she won some votes that she seemed to win MC's vote at Tribal Council. I kind of wondered, if Sage lost Christina's votes, like maybe she won both votes at Tribal Council that she got. I think she was the best across the board at Final Tribal Council. Like Sage was floundering on a difficult game to defend, and Savannah still like was otherwise very good, but like that one question was like obviously most of what we talked about tonight. So I think that we can give that to Sophie, and I'm going to give 1 point to Christina. Yeah, which I think, the fire skills were good to know. I didn't know that. There's a pathway here where she takes out Savannah in fire. Apparently, even if she won the challenge, she could put herself in to do it. Like, she's thinking on that level. I don't know that there's a win there, but there's something there more than I thought. Whereas, like, I can't give a point to Sage, I feel, because I feel like she was drawing even deader than we thought. And then Rizzo either, like, had to risk it all on fire. It's like, how did we get there? Or he didn't have to, and he did for no reason when the better move was keeping Christina. And we think that there was more to be done with the idol and that being his big flashy thing to lead him to the win rather than doing it at fire, which he couldn't pull off. Like, he bet it all on something he should have been a lot better at in fire. So those are my points. What are your points? And then I'm going to look at the charts and we're going to see who wins.
So I'm okay. My 3 is going to go to, like, Savannah. Mainly because she was a player at the start I did not think I would like. And I grew to respect her style of play. And I think in the new era, we haven't had her style of play and her sort of, like, not that she had, like, a villain-esque edit, but we haven't had that sort of sharp edges in, like, the, PG-13 family values survivor that we've had in the new era. So, and I appreciated how she answered her questions. I appreciated that she acknowledged things, and she also sort of hammered in when she needed to. She spearheaded the persuading everyone to vote for Christina when it benefited her. All in all,
the final 5 as well. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and all in all, like, I think she and I think another thing of her why she's like, I'm gonna be selfish. I'm out for number 1 and I'm number 1. And I was like, go girl, cool. You got me. So I respected that. 3 for her. I'm gonna give 2 to Christina.
I thought my 1 was shocking.
No, I'm gonna give her 2. Mainly, I don't know if I'm playing, like, I'm giving her points for her jury points.
You're really not meant to, but it's all right.
Oh, well,
it's okay.
Sorry.
You should.
I don't know. I feel like because it created so much dialogue, I kind of have to. I'm gonna break the rules. And, like, the fire montage alone, just, my God, Christina, 1 spark and she had things going. Her sort of pitching things about Sage and sort of being like, oh, Sage, are you weaponizing all of this emotional thing you're doing? And I thought that was, I don't know if that was what she intended to do, but I was like, cool, good attempt. And she sort of, like, tried to barrack for herself. So yeah, didn't work, but I think all in all, and, like, she fell so many times.
Yeah, also not usually what we give Chizzy points for, but
yeah, not for falling down, but, like,
for getting back up again. They're never gonna get it down. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I'm giving Christina some grace, and then Soph gets 1.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's interesting because that means we've just crowned a new Chizzy winner who was not the leader coming into this week.
Who's that?
Savannah won the Chizzy. Savannah got 28 points. Rizzo was on 26, but he didn't get any this week. And I was specifically not rigging it. That's why I gave it to you second. Not that I've ever rigged it before. Sophie then got 23. Sage left on 13. And Christina went up to 4. She was on 1 before this week. We gave her 3 in the
so we gave her the points. Well, no, I don't know. I cheated, but I'm gonna give.
That's my 40.
But no, I think it was a good season. Oh, and Savannah also got a fishy. So
finally, well, Savannah, she won the Chizzy this week. Better luck next time, Rizzo. Literally, you will be playing again imminently. Yeah. Maybe that'll be your Chizzy season. But Savannah won the game and she won the Chizzy. And I loved a lot of what Rizzo was doing, but I think that it was difficult not for himself and for us not knowing where the jury sat with it, that he felt he needed more to give the jury is why he lost the game. Again, whether that was accurate or a misread, both of those are things to criticize. Because in a world where he feels like the jury are feeling him the way they were Savannah, he can keep Christina in and he would win, Yeah. So those jury questions really did, even though he didn't make it to a final tribal council, they did actually play out because it caused him to take out Christina, which always gave Savannah a better chance of not just taking him out, but making it to the end to win.
Yeah. And that's what I also didn't understand. I was like, Rizzo, like, why are you putting yourself this direction. Like, I thought you had a good game. You clearly think you have a good game. So, but again, I don't know where the vote would have gone. But all in all, I think 49's been a journey, and I'm glad. Yes. I'm glad I sort of came in at the end to like experience it as well. And and this is my gripe with new era mechanics, is because these players are all interesting, and given opportunity and time and nuance, they do come out as good game players and actually do things that are interesting and divisive. It's just that it's so clunky. Like they're just playing against so much.
Yeah, look, this 49 has been like me, like I'm like Christina in that challenge, just falling down over and over with me and 49. But look, it's always been fun to cover. I'm glad we can get to 50 because the show seems to want us to get to 50 again, because I feel like this has been like the precursor to that. Probably I guess like what Samoa was in Heroes versus Villains. I can't like think back that far, but it was like meet Russell. He's gonna be very important soon on like a landmark season. So I kind of feel like that's where we were at with that. Yeah. Karin, where can people find what you're doing?
You can find me on my Instagram. I'm vaguely on Twitter as well. And yeah, I'm not doing vaguely on
Twitter.
Not
me, only chronically.
No, you're chronically. I'm vaguely. I might do a few. I mean, I'm potentially doing some coverage for Australian traders when it comes out. But we shall see. It should be fun.
Well, we got some questions around what the coverage will look like for me next year. This might very well be my last US Survivor podcast for a while. Recap, I should say. I have another one planned for next week. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I'm having a baby like right around the 50 premiere. A lot of cameos into that type of life. And it's going to be really hard to cover 50. I don't know what that looks like. In my perfect world, it's certainly not weekly coverage. In my perfect world, it's like I just hop in every few weeks, do something, rant about Jimmy Fallon, find out who Zach Brown is. He's engaged to Kendra, everyone remember, and talk about the season, but I don't know what that looks like. I really appreciate everyone who checks out Survivor Global. I know there's a lot of US coverage on the network and beyond, so we really appreciate the Survivor Global loyalists, and I'm going to do what I can. Will there be weekly cheesy points? Like, no. But, you know, like if I can put stuff online, I'll definitely be watching, because I hear that when you have a newborn, you watch a lot of TV. But, like, I don't know if I can podcast, and, yeah, I'll be I'll do what I can. I'll post whatever I can. I'll just drop in whenever I can. That's why you should follow me at Shannon Guss, so you don't miss what I'm doing, because I don't even know what that'll be. Bigger issue, Australian Survivor will likely be on at that time. I assume around mid-February it will start. I'm hoping it doesn't. There are rumors that like the traders will be first.
That's like, what I've heard as well.
Yeah, but like I don't think it's true. And like the players desperately don't want it to be true. And I'm like, I hope that happens.
But apparently, Traders has been so good that they're going to.
I know. That's what they say. Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, like Traders is on in February and Survivor's on in like July. That would be great because I'm having a baby in February. So yeah, but like I'm going to start doing Australian Survivor. I'll get there. You'll get me for the preseason, the most important part of the season, and then the first bit. And then the recap bitches and alumni and everything will have you covered. There will definitely be episodic recaps. There'll be chizzy points. All of that will be here on this feed. But like I, again, will hopefully drop in where I can. I don't know what that looks like, but we appreciate all the listeners at all times, just letting you guys know what's happening with that. In terms of other stuff, next week I'm doing a new era winner ranking with Mike and Rob. They sent out a form that I retweeted and reposted on Blue Sky where you can rank the new era winners. And we're going to talk about it. I think that it's going to be heavily weighted towards the form because I'm like, we're going to get death threats. So, so fill out that form. I also filled it out. I'm like, am I allowed to fill this out? And I did. So I can talk about Savannah's win. And I'm excited to talk more about that in that context in terms of new era winner rankings.
I haven't filled the form because I haven't watched enough new era. Actually, no, that's a lie. What have I not watched? Anyway. Regardless.
Fill it out. Put Marianne super high. That's all I ask. So we're doing that. And then I wanted to thank everyone. I've gotten some really lovely messages this week after what happened in Bondi last weekend. And thank you all for that. Peter and I on Gus and Around, we talk about our lives, hopefully every week, but there's been some delays, mainly like that happened. And we talked about that and our experience of that and how we're feeling on Gussing Around this week. We also talked about the social media ban for under 16s, which is where I felt like 100 years old. And I was like, these kids. Yeah, so that's been Gussing Around. If you have some time over the break and you want to check out something not Survivor related, there are 11 episodes of Gussing Around, so you might want to catch up on that. That's it. That's all to tell the people. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna like lose my opportunity to talk to the people when I don't podcast and just like getting it in there. But I'm podcasting again next week, so
you have to introduce the baby to Survivor. Like, I feel like those big headphones you can put over.
She knows.
Yeah. No, but then like she needs to know like the soundtrack. Like the soundtrack needs to play, so that
She hears Taylor Swift. She hears a lot of Hamilton. She's watching a lot of Survivor. She listens to me podcast. I mean, she watched 49 from the womb, and Shannon said she remembers that. So maybe she thinks she'll like be born and be like, that season wasn't good. I don't get the Survivor thing. I don't think that was good. But she also watched AUV World, actually.
First words are secret. No, first words should not be secret.
She'd be like, 49 wasn't good. I'm like, you're my child. I knew it. Yes. Very proud of you.
And we will remember her name.
Yeah.
And your
captain. And you better. I'm not going to play around with that. But yeah, Karin, this was so much fun. Such a great way to end the season. Thank you so much for being my guest and doing it on no sleep, and you were away. And I'm so glad we got to do it because it was such a great time.
No, likewise, had fun. And I think I functioned best on no sleep. So
we're the same person. So bizarre. But thank you so much. Thank you all for listening to everything this season. Thank you to our team behind the scenes, and I will see you next time. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.